Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, my precious pack, and welcome back to the game that we keep coming back to, that is VEGA Conflict. Time to take a look at the new mark upgrade targets, even though mobilization is almost over, but you win some, you lose some, and at times you test a few targets. Now, unlike previous videos, I didn't just throw my dreadnoughts at them, I took a run at the targets using the monitors, the screen shakers, and all I have to say is this. It works out so long as you take your time with it, and I don't have to attack the target multiple times to complete it in a single run for something that I see as an acceptable repair time, because I still like to log out with a certain amount of repair time. This means that you need to be able to go through more than one target. That's completely fine because the ships can actually do that. They can go through more than one target. They can go through quite a few. Just gonna say this now. I did not hit any of the Mark II targets because they're completely pointless because we have the Mark II stuff literally right here, so I don't see any point in having them around. So I completely skipped them and I went right for the Serpentine 105 and 107s. And this is the fleet that I used. Now, initially I just hit and recorded basically an auto attack with me telling the ships to focus fire on certain targets and yada yada yada. Not going to chat your ears off going into the details there, but I did that for the 105 and the 107, and then I slowly refined the attack until I had it down to the point that I was capable of hitting the 103, the 105, and the 107 for a decent repair time. Well, acceptable under my standards of anything over 30 minutes, but anything under an hour. That's like my ballpark that I just kind of focus on now. This is the fitting that I ultimately have on every single one of these ships, with the exception of the Mark II Plus, because they have additional armor slot and a little bit more weight. I didn't have these fairly quickly, and it took me till the second day to get them, but after I got the tactic worked out, you can use the Mark Is to farm in the course of 24 hours a single Mark II through Mark IV, so long as you minimize the repairs and take care of the injuries and stuff like that. If you don't, well, you're going to be playing and then repairing, and if you play for about an hour, the fleet should be destroyed and you should have beaten about 12 targets. But now you know the fittings, let's go ahead and let's jump to the pre-recorded gameplay so you can take a look at the first attack against the 105 and the 107, and then the final two attacks, which are the refined attacks against the 105 and the 107. There's a very large difference, as you're going to see, between the two of them. Okay, welcome to the Serpentine 105, and it consists of 3 waves. The first wave is 4 Wendigos and 1 Valraven that you'll have to deal with, which we'll take care of real quick, and then we'll talk about the second wave and the third wave. So first we need to deal with these Wendigos, which shouldn't be very difficult because they go down fairly quickly. As I said, they go down fairly quickly because, as you can see, the barrage took them out. And now we take care of the Wendigo. Well, we just dealt with the Wendigos, I mean the Valraven. Don't mind my tired babbling. Okay, on to the Amaroks, and they're going to be fairly quick and easy. And by quick and easy, I mean as quick and easy as an auto attack gets. You literally just stare at the screen and watch the ships go to work. The ships I don't have to complain about because their exit phase space overdrive is fairly good for dealing with the Wendigos, but not much else. Well, actually it's good for dealing with the Wendigos and the Valravens. Next up is the final wave, and it is the Wendigos turn first, and they go down fairly quickly and fairly easily, thankfully. And we're gonna rush the Valraven for no apparent reason. And that's basically all there is to the 105. Let's go ahead and let's hop over to the 107. Welcome to the Serpentine 107, and it is 4 waves, basically just 2 additional Amaroks at the end of the fight. With the exception, everything does just a little bit more damage. But everything is manageable nonetheless, so let's do a repeat and clear the Wendigos first and move on to the Valraven. Wendigos went down quickly, and the Valraven goes down nearly just as quickly. Let's move on to the Amaroks and take them out. And there we go, Amaroks are down, and now it's time to move on to the third wave, which consists of, yet again, 4 Wendigos and a single Valraven. So, once more, we rush in and deal with the first Wendigo, then we move on to the Valravens and stuff like that. Well, Valraven, because the other one is gone. In this case, I decided I wanted to poke the Valraven because I saw it as a bigger threat than the Wendigos. And since the Wendigos are close range, every time I exit phase space, they're going to be taking heavy damage anyways. And the Valraven is gone, and the Shockwave nearly cleared the Wendigos. On to the final attack, and it's going to be the Amaroks. The Amaroks go down slowly, but they do go down. Thankfully, there isn't anything too dangerous aside from this one left, and this concludes this fight. Let's go ahead and let's jump over to the Refined 105, and then take a look at the 107. Okay, this is the 105's Refined attack, and this is what you're going to do. Disable the AI right off the bat, and then you're going to move in, and you're going to attack, and you're going to cluster your ships up partially. Then you're going to move back. You want the Wendigos to be chasing you, but you want your ships at a partial angle to them and strafing away, as you're about to see. Because you want to be focusing fire, and thanks to the extremely high burst of damage and most of the shots being dodged, you destroy one, take a little damage in your turn. Repeat the process to completely clear every single Wendigo, and then rush the Valraven while you're out of phase, because you want to be on approach to it while you're in phase, so when you exit phase you can take it out with the burst of damage and have little risk of it strafing away. And poof, gone. And the Amaroks are basically the same situation as the Wendigos, with the exception of you're going to line them up in a partial box formation, and then go in and take them out that way. As I said, box formation, go in, try not to get hit while you're out of phase, because the point of this is to avoid the damage. In this case, you're trying to be repair efficient, and that's what the intention is. So poke a few of the targets, and then move away. If you can, try and get in deep and drop an entire volley with all 6 ships, because the damage will be... it'll be great for helping knock out one ship, and you can move on to the next one. And the sooner the better, because you don't want to waste too much time on the target. Unless you actually like wasting time, in which case then by all means take your time. And they've been dealt with. Time to repeat the process with the Wendigos. Once again, approach them. Try and be in phase for this set, because you want to damage one of them heavily or destroy one. And simply strafe away from them again. Once you get everything lined up, just strafe away. That's all you have to do. Exiting phase space will basically do most of the damage, and you just take the other one out, enter phase, and yet again, engage the group, strafe to the side, and more or less keep them to one side, and let the overdrives do the dirty work, because, I mean, they do extremely good damage. And finally, rush the last Valraven. That's it for this fight and tactic. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at the 107 now. Okay, by all intents and purposes, this is the exact same tactic as before, so this is a rinse and repeat with the extra step of dealing with the Amaroks at the end. So let's go ahead and let's skip through this a bit so you can see how this fight plays out and how much damage you take for it. Oh, and I forgot to say in the last clip, the repair times are included. Get them lined up, strafe to the side. If you want, you can focus fire to take out the weaker ones while you're in phase, so that the more healthy ones are the ones going to take the brunt of your attack when you exit phase space. And then we repeat the process. We exit phase space near the Valraven and destroy it with the overdrives. Line up the ships once more and get ready to start kiting these two Amaroks yet again. And there we go. That's what I was talking about before. Go in and try and get all 6 of your ships to fire at once, or as close to firing once as possible, because you can see them just chopping down that big bad Amarok. And the more quickly you can knock each of them out of the fight, the better, because it means you can start working on the next one and then get on to the next portion of the target. Now, once you have them at a low enough amount of health that you could potentially dive on them, by all intents and purposes, let the DOT do its work, and you can walk away from them and start prepping for the next portion of the attack. In this case, it's the Wendigos. So it's their turn on the chopping block. Now, I want to engage them in phase, so I wait to pop out of phase there, and then start to approach again due to how quickly the ship phases in and out. And once again, start to strafe, get them into a kiting position, and start bombing them out. And you see how quickly they just disappear, just like that. Took a pretty heavy amount of damage on ship number 2 there, but it's not too bad. And once again, rush the Valraven. Exit phase space around it and bomb it out. Try not to get hit and don't be risky like what I was doing there. Exit phase space before if you take the Valraven out soon, and try and engage them as you enter phase so you don't take any damage, but you can get your first salvo off and just deal a heavy amount of damage to them in return. And then we repeat this process many times over until each ship dies. One Amarok is looking pretty damaged up there. Second Amarok is looking fairly healthy, so he's going to be the focus of this entire fight. Well, this end portion of the fight, but yeah, these fights take a bit of time. They're both extremely close to being destroyed, so I should be able to rush them both now and beat them both. Let's head back to the base and I'll talk a bit more. So, what could I possibly have wanted to talk about back in my base one more time before I just send you off? Absolutely nothing. I just wanted to draw your attention back to the base so that I could wish you off. I had to do it. So, be safe out there, my pack. Happy hunting, and as always, I'll see you later. The fight's boring me to sleep.